Tom and Andrew?
Yeah?
I don't know if it is. Normally you've got some hair on your chin. What's happened? Where's it gone? I mean, I know, but I'm saying it for the premise of enlightenment. Where's it gone?
So on Monday, I did a charity stream for Women's Aid in hopes to raise some money for Women's Aid, where I was ranking Oreos and also trying to shave like a Jeff Hardy style beard into the face here. And I got a tuft. I got like one single looking good tuft, and that was about it. So the rest of it just had to go, Tom. And now I look like, if I take the hat off as well, I look like a child that's just been born, but still somehow looks like about 40 years old at the same time.
The world's oldest child born.
Yeah.
But you were doing it for Women's Aid.
Yes, yeah.
And how did you do money-wise?
It did really well. I think in the end, on Monday when we finished, it was £600, and then by the next day, on Tuesday, it had gone up to 710. So that was amazing. So thank you so much to everybody. Thank you.
Mad love if you're one of those that donated as well, and big love to Andrew who sacrificed his beard for an amazing cause. Here is your wrestling news. WWE content is being removed by Peacock. An absent Smackdown star is set to return soon. And a top indie star has officially signed with All Elite Wrestling. We'll talk about that in a bit. Our top story is the migration to Peacock for our friends from off of America. Not been the smoothest of journeys to watch go down. More so this morning, the Hollywood Reporter are telling us that the entire WWE Network library is currently being picked through, like meticulously checked by the guys from Peacock, with controversial content that goes against the standards and practices of NBC being removed. The Hollywood Reporter give us the update on this. So far, there's two pieces that we definitely know are gone from Peacock. Now, one of which is a match between Roddy Piper and Bad News Brown. This controversial because it features Roddy Piper half in blackface for the match. This is now no longer part of the WrestleMania showing on the Peacock network. And also from 2005, a line from Vince McMahon, which he uses the N-word backstage with John Cena and Booker T, both gone. Now, this is going to be quite an interesting discussion, but how do we feel, Andrew, about pieces of content being removed from the network onto Peacock?
I think personally, it's both a good and a bad thing, because I think you have to address those situations and perhaps do you think about reviewing them and taking them out because they are controversial and they are quite offensive to a lot of people. And then I think about other stuff like Stone Cold Steve Austin and Brian Pillman and all that kind of storyline, and I wonder if that gets caught up in there at some point as well. And then I wonder if we see certain parts of wrestling history kind of get taken away and lost to sort of time, and maybe people won't find those out and learn about those sorts of things. But yeah, it's a bit of a strange one for me. What about for you?
I think this was always going to be the case. Like, Peacock are basically buying the network, so it's completely up to them what they show on there. It is completely down to how they want that to be on their channel. And I get it from an outsider's perspective. If you have everything in its entirety on a network like Peacock, because the thing is, if you get the WWE Network, you kind of get what you're getting with the network. You know what you're getting with the network. Whereas with Peacock, you're getting that for numerous other things, and the network is on there as well. So cut to something that is pretty dicey without the context of wrestling, and yeah, it could cause some issues with Peacock. And you know what? It's their right to do with it what they will. This is the deal that WWE signed. But like you said there, it's going to be interesting to see how deep this goes, whether they stop at stuff that's sort of racially, sexually offensive, whether they take out certain words from scenes. How deep do we go? Do we lose, I'm just going to put it out there, do we lose Chris Benoit matches altogether? I mean,
that's a good point. I mean, there's a whole chunk from Attitude Era and even Ruthless Aggression Era as well. And even before then, I mean, there has just been very controversial stuff in WWE programming. And I guess, obviously, that at that point was a sign of the times and how everything was then. Obviously, thankfully, like, a lot of our mindsets have changed on a lot of things, which is good. But again, yeah, like you said, I wonder how deep this does go. I wonder if we do lose huge chunks of certain things. And I mean, obviously, with the Chris Benoit stuff, yeah, you're right. Obviously, he was a huge part of WWE in like a certain period, and I just, yeah, I'm not entirely sure, Tom. Not entirely sure.
A few people have already commented. A few people from the industry have already commented on this Peacock migration. And you mentioned there, Andrew, about Brian Pillman. Brian Pillman Jr. tweeted out, "Pretty sure none of my dad's WWF promos are making it to Peacock." He's pretty resigned to that. Lance Storm has tweeted out, "Hey Peacock, if you want to edit out any of my dancing gimmick from 2003, that'd be okay. I hope the network is just Lance Storm's dancing gimmick." Whole episode of Raw is 30 seconds long. That'd be amazing. And as frustrating as some of this is going to be for wrestling fans, because right now Justin Henry and I do the Cultaholic Classic Raw review. Justin Henry's from Off of America, and this has impacted our work because Justin watches the episodes of Raw that we did. We're currently up to 1995. He's messaged me this morning to say that he's logged onto the network, and already there's a message saying all our content is now on Peacock. So
wow.
that's something we need to figure out in a minute. I'll address that admin after the video. But Wrestling Travel have tweeted out, "You think you're having a bad day? Just remember, there's an NBC intern scrolling through WWE's entire video library, editing out offensive content from the Peacock network, who is yet to come across Mae Young giving birth to a hand."
Oh no! What happens with Mae Young at Royal Rumble 2000 as well? What's gonna occur there?
I hope they edit it so it looks like she wins the Rumble.
That would be phenomenal.
Do it. Moving up.
Celebration. She's just like,
that's how she celebrates.
Yeah.
I'd love them just to edit stuff just for banter. Please do. Please do. Meanwhile, in 2021, an absent SmackDown star could be getting ready to come back. We've talked about him a little bit over the last couple of weeks. Who's this, Andrew?
It's Aleister Black. It's Aleister Black, Tom. Black has been, apparently, PW Insider has reported that Aleister Black has been seen at the Performance Center recently, working off some recent injuries, and we haven't seen him on TV since he lost to Kevin Owens on October 12th, so he's been away for quite a while now.
There was some concern that we may never see him again.
Yes, and I was very worried about that, Tom, because Aleister Black is always one of my favorites at NXT, and to see him when he came over, obviously with like Ricochet, to the main roster, they had so much momentum behind them, and then that's kind of just died down, which is very, very sad to see, because I think Aleister Black, given the opportunity to really just go the distance on the main roster, I think he could be one of the main faces of the company personally, because he's that good. And that's a strong vote of confidence from you for Aleister Black, the face of the company. Him. Yeah.
Well, let's hope that's very soon, more than just the Amazon driver is knocking on the door for Aleister Black. Fingers crossed he's back there nice and soon. Impact Wrestling in the news today as well. Their theme song, "We Own the Night," is very appropriate this morning, as it's been revealed that Impact Wrestling, sensing an impending black and gold arrival, has swapped days. What's the story here, Andrew?
So starting April 8th, Impact Wrestling will return to Thursday nights on Access TV and Twitch, keeping the 8 p.m. Eastern start time. And that change means that every weeknight will now feature professional wrestling, and in some cases, more than one on the same night. And this is in reaction, as we said before, to WWE's plans to move NXT to Tuesday nights. So I think this is a really good idea. What do you think?
Absolutely the right thing to do for Impact. Yes. It's like, well, it's just funny to see how these companies shape up with each other, because like AEW going on a Wednesday and NXT going, all right, we'll have you. And then that all panned out, and then NXT went, all right, we're going to go to Tuesday. And Impact just went, no, we're not having that, right? We're over here now. And they've been really shrewd with this, because Thursday night is a really important night for Impact. Historically, TNA Wrestling has a really special home on a Thursday night in its long, long history. But also, it's the one night where there is a lack of competition from other shows as well. And they're doing this move from April the 8th, and that date is important because That is the week of WrestleMania. That is the week where, you know what, you're going to have a lot of wrestling fans consuming a lot of wrestling. And that's a day where it's going to be a bit quiet on the wrestling front. So why not just slip in there a week early just to give everybody the heads up a week ahead that they can come and find you on a Thursday. So, right, this is how the wrestling landscape is going to look after WrestleMania this year. This is under the assumption that NXT are moving to Tuesdays. It hasn't been announced yet, but the writing is pretty much on the wall, and we're just waiting for William Regal to say, we're moving to Tuesdays. I don't know why he talks like that. You can't give a baby booze. That's a throwback. If you get it, good. Drop me in the comments. So, assuming that NXT moves to Tuesdays, this is how our week looks, Andrew, going forward. So, on Mondays, we're going to have Raw and AEW Dark Elevation. So, that's a nice start to the week. Tuesday, NXT, AEW Dark, NWA Power. Boom, boom, boom. Power started at 6:05, so they're getting in there nice and early before everything else kicks off. Good work, lads. AEW Dynamite on a Wednesday, as well as if you are inclined to watch it, if you haven't, I highly recommend you do. MLW Fusion lives on a Wednesday as well, and WWE Main Event. One of these things is not like the other. Thursdays will now be the home of Impact Wrestling and NXT UK. Volta versus Rampage coming up.
Excited, Tom. Excited for that.
Can't wait for Rampage to beat him and face Tommaso Ciampa at TakeOver.
Yeah.
That's definitely happening. Sorry, Rampers. And on a Friday, we have SmackDown, we have 205 Live, and New Japan Strong. That's a full week of action,
hefty.
mate.
It's hefty. But I think for the main shows like Raw, SmackDown, Dynamite, Impact, NXT, this is so much better for them, isn't it? Because there's no wires crossed. And as wrestling fans as well, I think we want to consume as much as we possibly can. But when things are on the same night, I think often we compromise one show for another show and then just don't really ever seem to catch up properly as we might want to. So I think this is such a good showing. Give each show their own spotlight, time to shine, and let people just enjoy it, just consume it all. Let's stop these ratings wars.
Yes, absolutely. Andrew's frozen. Oh no. Andrew talked about the end of ratings wars and he froze. There he is. He's back. Can we carry on with the news?
We can. Sorry, I went into a different dimension then. It's this new clean-shaven face, Tom.
Went straight through the warp zone. Two big signings to let you know about this morning. An AEW signing we'll talk about in just a couple of minutes' time. But let's look to NXT UK. We mentioned them very briefly just then. Bobby Tyler, a really, really talented British independent star. One of the hottest female wrestlers as part of Rev Pro. Now officially on the books with WWE. Not officially announced yet, but Bobby Tyler has changed all her social handles. So Bobby Tyler now on Twitter and Instagram as @StevieTurner WWE, giving us an indicator of not just a new name, but obviously the WWE suggests that either she's joined World Wrestling Entertainment or she now works for Wild Warren's Egg Factory.
Yes,
that's exactly what it stands for. At 24 years old, she's got a massively bright future ahead of her. Big love, and we'll see her on NXT UK, I reckon, very soon. AEW signing. This is what I thought that was already on the books, Andrew, but apparently only just signed up. Who's this?
It is Red Velvet. It's Red Velvet. Finally, she is here. She's been doing such good things on Dark, and then obviously with the match with Jed Cargill and Shaq and Cody. Like, she really stepped it up in that match, and I think she deserves it. She deserves it so much to finally be here, signed with AEW.
Cody has confirmed this on Twitter, mentioning the aforementioned match there, saying, at Crossroads on Dynamite, squaring off against Shaq and Jade, Red stepped up in a huge way. Tony Khan saw what over 1 million people saw that night and upgraded her contract. She's all elite now. Let's stir it up, my friend. That's a good shout. And that's, you know what? Pressure makes diamonds. To be in that position where not only like you're on the card, but you certainly were on the periphery of something like this. And then with Brandy out of the match, Red Velvet coming into it, and Arn Anderson cutting that promo towards Red Velvet that's fired her up. And then she had a great showing in that match. It was a real, like, you were thrown in the deep end with it, and she absolutely flourished. So exciting thing. Good. It's always good, Andrew, to see good things happening to good people.
Agreed. It really, really is.
Absolutely so. And you, sir, are good people for losing your beard for charity. Like you'd have to rip this off my face because I look like a fat baby with this off it. So I wouldn't dream of it. But I'd lose this before this. So mad respect to you and raising that amazing money as well. Well done, mate.
Thank you.
Big love. Love you by Friday. Back today. I'm going to give myself a cheeky plug here. Twitch.tv/Cultaholic from 1600 Greenwich Mean Time. If you've never been a part of it before, it is you, it is I, it is live calls to this isolation station. Will Pablo turn up to be a part of it? Will you call in and share your thoughts on wrestling, life, the universe, and everything? How about we find out at 1600 Greenwich Mean Time, twitch.tv/Cultaholic. Stay safe. Love you. Bye.